This week on Muy Criollo, we'll be making something I'm very excited to share with you. Empanadas de Morocho. These are very crispy empanadas that you can fill with chicken, beef, fish, crab, any meat really, or even just rice. They are perfect as an appetizer, to go with a cafecito or as a light lunch. Now this recipe is a little involved. Well, very involved, but the rewards are worth the effort. First, we need to make the morocho dough. Morocho is just a type of dried corn grain, and you can find it in most Latino sections. Goya produces some, so it's pretty common. Make as much as you can because you can freeze the dough you make so that next time it's easier. I'm making 2 bags worth. Now we're going to soak the morocho for 6 days. If you're planning it out in advance, a 6-day soak isn't so bad, as long as you have some patience and forward thinking. Alternatively, you can just make the dough whenever you have time and freeze all of it when you finish. Now, boil the morocho until it's tender. Make sure to add more water if necessary. This is very starchy, so it can burn if you're not careful. When the grains have become fully tender, strain them and let them dry for a bit before putting them through the food processor. Now, traditionally, you would grind this in a mortar. I don't know about you, but I don't have a mortar that big lying around, and I'm pretty sure if I asked you all to get out your mortar and pestles, you would all leave. So, food processor it is. Do a little at a time and get in there every once in a while and scrape down the sides. When it starts to mass together and ball up in the food processor like this, you know it's ready. You can see it's now become a malleable dough, but it might still be a little wet to deal with. If you need to use it that same day, spread it out on a plate and let it dry in the fridge. Now the best practice is to make a lot of this dough and then freeze it all. Not only will that save you effort next time you want to make the empanadas, it will also make it easier to remove any excess remaining water from the dough. Just squeeze it out. Leave a little for our re-doughification though, because after freezing and thawing, all those bonds holding our dough together have disintegrated. But with a little heat and time, we can make all of this corn dust back into dough. Now that we have a usable dough again, let's make our filling. I'm going to make a very simple traditional filling. The fillings for this type of empanada tend to be more basic in flavors and ingredients because empanadas de morocho are commonly just used as vehicles for salsa, so an intense filling would clash with that. Our filling is going to be rice, peas, carrots, and shredded chicken. Now that that's mixed, let's roll. Here's what your rolling setup should look like. We're using plastic wrap to protect the dough from sticking to the pan or table. Grab a small chunk of dough, roll it into a ball, and cover it with a plastic wrap. Then just roll it out until you have a thin disc, and place your filling into the middle. Make sure not to overfill. Grab the end of the plastic wrap and fold the empanada over, pressing down on the edges to seal them. Press down on the dough as close to the filling as you can, and using a butter knife, trim the extra dough off. We can use that for the next one. Now, gently lift the empanada off the table and voila! You can easily do this with less dough as well, and make smaller empanadas. In fact, with half the dough, this one didn't even come out much smaller. Now, if you don't want to fry these right away, you can save them for later. Just wrap them individually and put them in your freezer. When you fry them, you can drop them right in the hot oil. Now, test your oil to see if it's hot. Drop a little flour in it and see if it sizzles. No, why would you do that? Now it's not gluten-free anymore. Anyway, it's obviously hot enough, so I'm going to drop our corn-based gluten-free empanadas into the gluten-contaminated oil. You can do these 2 at a time. Just always leave room for Jesus between them because if these 2 touch, they'll stick together instantly. Flip them over quickly so their surface becomes less sticky, and if you do that, you can add a 3rd wheel to the mix. Hey man, it's been a while. No! Enforce strict social distancing among your empanadas. at least until they start to get a little crispier. And take your time, it will be a few minutes before these hit peak crispiness, and it's hard to overcook them. When they just start to change color around the edge and they feel hard to the touch, they're ready. Place them on a plate lined with paper towel, and this is very important, flip them from time to time so one side doesn't end up soggy. And that's it. Delicious, crispy empanadas de morocho. But you know what these are missing? Some salsa de ají. It's basically the law that you must have these with some form of salsa, so check out my previous video on salsas if you want a quick recipe to go with these. Or you could just force a friend to bring you the salsa if you're feeling lazy. You can even use queso dip. I don't know. Some people like it. I try to keep an open mind, even though it makes me scream inside. But no existential queso can survive a bite of these crispy boys. Delicious. Now, I know you must be wondering what to do with all these scraps, and I'm here to tell you what the food police and Big Empanada don't want you to know. Just roll those out while no one is looking into a teeny little empanada with one tiny little piece of filling, and secretly fold it over and trim it just like a government-approved empanada. Now fry it clandestinely in the oil. Don't worry, it's so small, none of the deliciousness sensors will go off in your household. The spinning naturally helps to wonkify the FDA gyro scanners. Remove it before the cameras are back online. Place it on the tiniest of plates and cover it with the secret salsa, which will dampen its heat signature. And then contact your household undercover agent and arrange a drop-off point. The undercover agent will extract the package and swallow the contents, so no one will be able to trace the contents back to you, unless they know to inspect their litter box. Until next time, Codename Criollo, signing off.